Chapter 3, Mishnah 7. The Mishnah presents more cases in which an item is forbidden for benefit but not subject to me'ilah. As a rule, a tree is nourished by the roots that are within 16 amos, approximately 25 to 30 feet, 7.7 to 9.2 meters, of its trunk. Thus, only roots located within this range are considered part of the tree and belong to the tree's owner, while roots beyond this range belong to the owner of the land in which they grow. The Mishnah applies this rule to cases in which a property of hekdesh is next to a non-hekdesh property, and the roots of a tree in one property grow into the next property. If the roots of an ordinary person's tree, i.e. a tree in a private field, as opposed to one of hekdesh, extend up to 16 amos into a field of hekdesh, or if the roots of a hekdesh tree extend more than 16 amos into an ordinary person's field, one may not derive benefit from the roots, such as by using them for firewood. But if he does derive benefit from them, he does not commit me'ilah. In the first case, where the roots extend 16 amos or less, they are considered part of the tree. Thus, since the tree belongs to a private person, they are not subject to me'ilah. In the second case, where the roots extend more than 16 amos, they are not considered part of the tree. Thus, even though the tree belongs to hekdesh, they too are not subject to me'ilah. A similar case. If a spring begins in an unconsecrated field and then flows through a field of hekdesh, one may not derive benefit from it while it flows within the boundary of the hekdesh field. But if he does derive benefit from it, he does not commit me'ilah, since the spring itself is not hekdesh. Once the spring leaves the hekdesh field, one may derive benefit from it. The next case involves the water that was poured in the Beis HaMikdash during the festival of Sukkot, Nisuch Hamayim. Every morning of Sukkot, water was poured on the Mizbeach, in addition to the wine that was poured. The water for this offering was drawn from the Shiloach spring, which was located outside of Jerusalem. Normally, on each day of Sukkot, a consecrated golden jug would be filled with water from the spring and brought to the Beis HaMikdash. For the Shabbos of Sukkot, however, they would draw the water with an unconsecrated golden barrel on Friday and leave it overnight in the Beis HaMikdash. The next morning, Shabbos, the water was transferred to the golden jug and poured on the Mizbeach. See Sukkot, Mishnah, Chapter 4, Mishnah 10. The Mishnah discusses the me'ilah status of this water. Regarding the water for the Nisuch Hamayim that is in the golden barrel, one may not derive benefit from it since it is set aside for hekdesh use. But if he does derive benefit from it, he does not commit me'ilah, since the water in the barrel is not consecrated. Once the water is placed into the golden jug, it is subject to me'ilah, since the water is now consecrated. Another ceremony that took place in the Beis HaMikdash on Sukkot was that of the Arav, willow branch. Each day of Sukkot, willow branches were placed upright against the walls of the Mizbeach, and the Kohanim would go around the Mizbeach singing prayers to Hashem. See Sukkot, Chapter 4, Mishnah 5. The Mishnah discusses whether the willow branches are permitted for benefit. The law of the willow branch used in the Beis HaMikdash on Sukkot is that one may not derive benefit from it, since it is designated for a mitzvah. But if he does derive benefit from it, he does not commit me'ilah, because the Aravos are not consecrated. Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Tzadok, says, before the willow branches were placed against the sides of the Mizbeach, the elderly men would place them in their lulavim, i.e. they would bind them with the lulav and hadasim to fulfill the mitzvah of taking the 4 species.